The roar of battle is our sacred song, the din of war our holy hymns. Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to The Gamer's Den, with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Today bringing you another episode of the Pathfinder Warpriest build guide. And today we are taking a look at their 3rd level spell list and which spells you ideally want to have in play. But before we delve into all of that, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there and hit the subscribe button and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Join our historic alumni, or if you've already made yourself known on such a legendary roster, then go on down there, hit the like button, as well as share the video far and wide to help the channel grow ever more. Now, with all my self-aggrandizing and promotion out of the way, we can go ahead and get into the heart of the matter. To begin with, for your 3rd level spell list, you want to take a look at spells like Deadly Juggernaut. This one is a must-have. It's a standard action cast time, you target yourself, and it lasts 1 minute per level. When you drop a target that is at least equal hit dice to you, -4, meaning it has to be either at your level, above your level, or no more than 4 levels below you, to 0 hit points, you gain a +1 luck bonus on attack, damage, strength checks, and strength skill checks. And you also get a damage reduction of 2 that's not negatable by anything. This bonus tops out at a +5 with a damage reduction of 10. This is a seriously useful buff, particularly the damage reduction portion, given that this class only gets a D8 for its hit points. The next spell is something more of a utilitarian kind of thing, but it's incredibly useful, and that's Stone Shape. It's a standard action cast time, it's a touch spell, and you affect a 10-foot cubic area of stone, plus 1 cubic feet per level. You can form and shape stone to suit your purposes. You want to build fortifications, Stone Shape. You want to build a bridge, Stone Shape. You want to weaken and destroy a bridge or other fortifications, Stone Shape. You want to create an altar, a solid base from which to stand, shout your holy hymns, and fight your enemies, Stone Shape. Great spell, absolutely useful. The effects are only limited by your imagination and what the DM will let you do. But then, going on from there, we have another spell that's absolutely useful. It's a great debuff no matter whose spell list it pops up on, Bard, Witch, or in this case, Warpriest. It's Dispel Magic. It's a medium range spell. It's 100 feet plus 10 feet per caster level. You target one spell caster, creature, or object. Suppress the abilities of a magic item or end an ongoing magical effect. You roll 1d20 plus your caster level, and you compare that to the highest spell level effect that's in place, which has a DC of 11 plus the spell's caster level. If you win, you end the effect, or you go on to the next effect if there's more than one in place on the target. So say your target has 2 spell effects. One has a caster level of 18, the other has a caster level total of 19 with this difficulty calculation. If you roll a 17 total on your d20 roll, you don't dispel the caster level 18 effect, but you do get rid of that 16. So you are going to get rid of something typically, making this an incredibly useful spell. Or even if you're not debuffing an enemy, preventing an enemy spellcaster from casting their spells is incredibly useful. And the fact that you are doing it, if you have another spellcaster on the team, means that they will be free to be casting their own spells and effects to help aid your side in the fight. But then going on from there, we have one more buff that is incredibly useful for the Warpriest to have, and that's Channel Vigor. It's a standard action casting time, you target yourself. It only lasts 1 round per level, but the benefits are massive. You focus your power to gain one of these benefits each round, meaning you can switch effects as needed from round to round. If you focus on limbs, you gain the effects of the haste spell, one of the best buffs in the entire game. If you focus on your mind, you gain a +4 competence bonus on knowledge and perception checks, which is the most rolled skill in the game, and on your ranged attack rolls. So if you've decided to go with more of a ranged build rather than follow this specific guide exactly, this will be massively useful for you. Then you have Spirit. If you focus on Spirit, you gain a +4 competence bonus on will saves and bluff and intimidate checks. The will saves are pretty damned useful. Bluff and intimidate, not so much, given that the way this class is built, the way the abilities and mechanics of it all work, it basically begs charisma to be a dump stat. Unless your DM is allowing you to substitute in another stat for intimidate, the use of this is going to be fairly limited. And lastly, and probably the least useful out of all 4 effects, we have Torso. Gain a +4 competence bonus on fortitude saves and concentration checks. You're better off selecting one of the other 3, particularly limbs or mind, so keep that in mind. And as you all know, I try to at least give some kind of an example of a spell to avoid from a mechanical standpoint, or talk about spells that are mechanically bad but roleplay-wise pretty useful or sensible, if nothing else. And for 3rd level in the Warpriest, that's Plant Voice. Standard action casting time, it's a close range spell giving you 25 feet plus 5 feet every 2 caster levels, and you target 1 plant creature, and it lasts 10 minutes per level. You grant 1 plant creature the ability to speak, hear, and understand languages you know, at a rate of 1 per 2 caster levels. So if you're a level 8 spellcaster, you can help them to understand 4 different languages. It doesn't make the creature friendly in any way, it only allows you to interact with charisma-based skills. Plant creatures with an intelligence of 2 or less can only relate concepts like food or danger. There's no effect on ordinary plants or fungi, so you have to target mobile, or at least plant creatures with some kind of intelligence. So, this one is just, it's useful for gathering and gaining information, or possibly persuading plant creatures to be on your side. But given that you're not the face, you're probably not going to be the one making this interaction. The thing is, you need to give it the ability to speak a language everybody in your party speaks, so Common's a pretty useful pick, but again, it's very iffy how useful this is, and it's dependent on the DM and the overall interactions and negotiations, so it's too wildly inconsistent from table to table to say that yes, this is a definitely useful spell all the time, but from a roleplay perspective, it makes sense, particularly if you're playing a Warpriest dedicated to some kind of a nature deity or god or goddess that has plants or nature in their portfolios, within their sphere of influence. Then this spell would make a lot of sense. But even then, you still don't have all the charisma-based skills to make this useful. If you have somebody in your party who does, such as a bard, then yeah, you can probably sway a plant over to your side, a plant creature onto your team to a certain extent. But again, this can be incredibly hit or miss, and it largely depends on your DM working with you to a certain extent, so you can't count on it. But what do you think? Go on down below into the comments and let me know your thoughts. What spells would you recommend be added onto this list? Certainly there's plenty out there that I haven't covered. Go on down to the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Hit that like or dislike button and we'll engage in discussion. And if you haven't done so already, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamers Den and be notified the next time we upload more content to the channel. Or like the video and share it far and wide. But with all that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.